Hello and welcome to another episode of Bum with a Wrench. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to be working on my 1965 Ford Galaxie 500 with the 352 that I introduced to you in the introduction. I need to get this car moving again. I did a little bit of work to it off camera. I did record some of it, so maybe I'll throw that in right after this introduction. Just a little bit of the fuel line and problems that I'm having with that. But I need to get this going today because one, I don't like dead cars in the shop, even though I've got a couple of them, especially ones that are sitting in the middle here because I've always got cars coming in and out, and I'm going to have another vehicle coming in the next day or so. It's just a daily driver for the owner. It's been at the dealer for a while, back and forth. But anyways, that car's going to be coming back. So I need to take my daily driver and put it in here so that I can drive that daily driver to make sure that there's nothing wrong with it before I give it back to the owner. So I need to finish up this fuel line. I need to mount the power steering pump. I need to change the power steering gear. And then also, I was trying to figure out a good way to put a nice fuel filter in this car. I found this online. It looked like a neat little filter, and then I went ahead and found basically the same thing on Amazon for quite a bit cheaper. So went ahead and picked it up, took it apart, inspected it. It's actually pretty cool. It is a little bit heavy, but it's got a nice big filter in here. It's got a mounting bracket here on the side, and then the two screws hold the filter assembly on, and then that third screw there in the center, you drop that down, this bowl comes down, and it's a nice canister style fuel filter. It holds quite a bit of fuel. So my plan with this is to mount it on the frame, AN-6 to 3/8 NPT on both sides, and then AN-6 from the tank to the filter, AN-6 from the filter to the pump. That's my plan with this. If I can't get to this today, I'm not going to be too sad. I need to get this thing running, moving, and back operational so I can move it out of the shop, so I can get another vehicle in here underneath the hoist. So that's the plan today. It should be, well, anytime you're working on these classic cars, everything that seems easy turns out to take quite a while. So so that's the plan. Let's jump into it and get this done. So let me get you in here so you can see what's going on. It's like I said, I did a little bit of work. I did film it, so maybe I'll throw that in after this. So basically what I've done so far is made a nice -6 fuel line. It had the stock fuel line from the original car. It was just a hard line coming off the pump down there, through the bracket right here, crossed, and then over to the carburetor. Since then I've put a Holley 650 double pumper on it. So it's got the Holley lines off the side with the -6. So I wanted to add this fuel line, but then the other thing I wanted to do was add a little bit of heat protection. Anything you can do to cool that fuel down is going to help you to have a better running engine. So I've got this heat wrap by Red Hose Performance, I think is where I got this, and same with the fuel filter. Right now what I have down here is a -6 on a 120 degree fitting, but my problem is that the hose, the line, it's not plugged into the pump right now, so it's kind of loose. But when it's plugged in, it hits this power steering bracket quite badly. Could you get away with it? Maybe. I don't know for how long. It's definitely going to end up just rubbing through that braided steel AN hose. So I had two options. I did get a 150 degree fitting to go on there, but the problem with the 150 degree fitting is it actually cut back so much that it hit the pump, and so the two options that I had to fix this were either get a -6 to 8th NPT that was a little bit longer, so that it stuck out of the pump farther, so I could put that 150-degree fitting on it so it didn't hit the pump. But I don't like making those long fittings like that, because you get vibrations and then that fitting will degrade and could possibly crack. Then you got fuel everywhere. Then you got your car burnt to the ground. So don't want to do that. I'd rather go ahead and just notch out this power steering bracket right here to relieve a little bit of room for the hose to actually go through. But before I do that, I'm going to drop the pump on there, test fit it real quick, and make sure that this line being back here, even though that's where the stock line was, but we're talking about a little 3/8 fuel line, make sure that that actually has room and there's no other issues that I'm going to run into after, I cut and notch that power steering bracket. Notching that out a little bit on the end, I'm just going to put a nice little half moon shape right there, just so the hose can fit through without rubbing. Of course, you got to worry about degrading the bracket so much that you could throw everything out of whack. This is a big beefy bracket, way overkill for the power steering pump as it is. I'm not going to have any problems with just notching it, but I do need to drop the pump down there and make sure the pump and the line that -6 actually fits with no other issues. So let's do that now, just to check and make sure that we're headed in the right direction. It's easy to have an idea and then it runs out of control because you thought it would work, but then it doesn't work. So let me get you set up here. Okay. Go up a little higher. Tip down. All right. Okay. So like I said in the beginning, when I introduced this car, I had a lot of issues with it when I built it. For the duct tape drags, I could have taken the car. It definitely would have been an adventure. This thing's got lots of little things going on with it. The brakes are horrible. The master cylinder and booster and stuff are just a complete wreck. And when I initially did the power steering on this car, everything was new. Pump was new, lines were new, gears new. Everything's absolutely new on this. Uh-oh, dropping bolts down the radiator. Everything's new on this. Why did they give me that bolt? What's that for? I don't know. We'll save that in case we figure out what that's for. So everything on this thing was new. So I really couldn't figure out why it blew up. The only thing I can figure is that at some point it must have gotten some debris or something in the pressure and return line, which then cycled it through the brand new power steering gear from Cardone, and that's a new unit, not reman or anything else like that. So I really shouldn't have had any problems with that. I put that same gearbox in the 66, and I don't have any problems with the 66. So, this is what I wanted to do, kind of just set that pump in there. Even though I knew it was going to fit, it's still a good idea to just kind of get a good visual on how things are going to look when you're done. And you can see that tilt you up a little bit here. This bracket right here on the side is where we need to notch. So there's plenty of room there. It's not even anywhere near the pump. So we're fine. So I'm good to go ahead and just take this back off. I'm going to take the bracket back off. I know it's just right here in this corner where I got to notch out. And so I'll end up probably doing that with just a grinder on a grinding wheel on a hand grinder. That'll be the quick and easiest way. I could use the plasma cutter, but something so small like that, it's going to take more time to set the plasma cutter up than it would be just to go ahead and knock it out with the grinder. So this thing does look nice. This is a pump that I got from Summit. This is a new pump, not reman. I like buying the new stuff instead of the reman stuff. I feel like I get better parts that way, less issues. Of course, I am battling the issue of, bad power steering gear. So, doesn't always work, but most of the time it does. So this will probably be the time when I'm doing the high-speed video. But hope you guys have liked the videos that I've made so far. I'm not sure exactly when this video is going to go in line with the 7-liter. I know I got at least one more boring video on the 7-liter. It took me a minute to try and figure out how to record in such a way that it keeps people interested in what's going on. I'm gonna say these creators, out there that are making content, you watch some of the good ones, and you can see that one, they've been doing it for a while. They've developed their character, we'll call it, and they're just entertaining to watch. And of course, a lot of that has to do with the type of content that they're putting out there, and how they've edited out the boring stuff. So what we're going to do is we're just going to notch right here, right on this side. It's pretty easy to see which side is back and which side is front. This has got all the adjustments, so this is definitely going to be the front side. This has got this nice little C thing here in the back, which I think is actually tweaked open. It does look a little misshapen, so I'll probably squish that in the vise and close that up a little bit. But really easy, just right here in the back, just going to notch out that. I'll probably follow that line right there on that nice crease, follow it out here, and then give it a nice clean radius, just keeping all the sharp edges out of the way of the hose. So you can see here what I got going on if I get my hand out of the way. So basically, just stock Ford fuel pump, nothing special there. And then what I did was just put a -6 1/8 NPT on the pump, and then this would be my -6, and that's 120 degree fitting right there. And you can see that this one's got plenty of room to clear the pump. Even I'm not going to thread it in but it's got plenty of room to clear the pump. And so when I saw this, I thought, okay, well, no big deal. I'll just put a 150 degree fitting on it. That'll put the hose back closer to the pump, and and I won't have any problems at that point. But when you put the 150 degree fitting on the pump, I gotta turn it sideways because it won't go. There it is. See, when you put that 150 degree fitting on the pump, you can see it won't, I can't even rock the fitting up here because it cuts back too close. I thought about maybe trying to drop it down underneath, or maybe bring it out in front right here, but I don't want to get it close to, all the things spinning. And really, it's perfect if it just comes up right up through here, like the stock one did. So that 120 degree is definitely the way I got to go, and then a simple notch out on that bracket, and we'll be good to go. Let me go over and get that notched out. I'm sure you guys don't want to see that. Super boring. And then I'll come back and show you what we got. All right, we got the bracket here, all modified, painted. Just went ahead and cleaned it up. As you can see there, just put a little radius in it. I always try and keep smooth edges everywhere, so it's smooth edges all the way around. Two reasons for that. One, I don't want it digging into the that fuel line, and two, sharp edges will weaken the material that you're working with. So if you're grinding on something, cutting on something, if you leave an extra cut line or even a nick on that cut line that you're going on, that's a weak spot for a crack to start forming. So I want to try to avoid that, smooth everything out as much as possible. So now I'm going to test fit this and then take it back off, because one of the things that I want to do is try and get that fuel filter on. And if I put all this together, I'm going to just have to take it all back apart to get that fuel filter on. However, the area in there is pretty tight, so I need to run over to the hardware and pick up a right angle drill and a stubby drill bit is what I need. And then hopefully I can get I don't know if you can see this right here, but on the frame right here is where I want to go ahead and mount that fuel filter. So it'll go right there, right over there by the oil pump or oil filter. That way everything's just all kind of in the same spot, you know. And it leaves me a nice radius to come down. This is the fuel line from the tank. That'll go right into the filter, and then I'll drop out the other side, loop around, and then back up to it. So it's kind of the perfect spot. I only got about 4 inches, I want to say, to try and get a drill bit in there. So I'm not sure how that's going to go, but I'll give it a shot anyways. So this goes here. Trying to get this lined up the way it's supposed to go. Now normally I'm always harping about trying to stay, stay clean to the point where I'm not being intrusive to the car in case someone wants to go back to original blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. But on this car, I don't really care. The car is not a rare car. I mean, it's super clean. One of these days when we get up underneath of it, I'll show you how clean this car actually is. The floor pans in it are so clean that you can still see perfectly the perfect factory primer on the floor pans. So even though, the people that had this car before me abused it by never changing the oil and kind of abusing the engine, and just the car in general, that abuse actually led to it being saved, because this thing doesn't have rust on it anywhere. All right, let me adjust that -6 a little bit. Need to get that just over there. There we go. Now that's perfect. That is nice. Let me just move that a little bit more. There we go. Like I said, I'm just test fitting, so I'm not tightening anything up. But let me get you in here so you can take a look at that. So you can see that bracket, and where the hose comes through. And if I wiggle the bracket, you can see it's got plenty of room. It's not wiggling the hose at all. Bracket's moving, hose isn't. It's got just the slightest little gap all the way around it. That's great. It won't get pinched. The fuel line won't rub a hole in it, so that the fuel stays in the hose the way it's supposed to. So now what I'm going to do is I think just put a little Adele clamp right here off that water neck to hold this this fuel line still. And if I do that, it'll keep that nice and straight. Anytime you have anything that can rattle, well, you could hit the distributor. Vibrations can actually cause the fuel to kind of bubble in the line, and it'll cause you problems. So, you know, I mean, it'd take a couple seconds, put a nice clamp right there. That's going to keep that routed real nice. Put that vacuum line for the distributor up there. And that's going to hold that nice. So that worked out. Quick, easy way. Didn't put a lot of effort into that. Just clean it up, make it nice. So that works. What I need to do now is head over to the hardware store. You can see, let me get you back down in there. You can see what I'm talking about with the amount of space that I have right here. And then when the power steering pump is sitting right here, it really doesn't give me a lot of access to this spot right here. The end of the power steering pump is right here, so if I put that fuel filter right here, the center of it right here, I'll be able to stick a wrench down here with a socket on it and undo the top, which will drop the bottom. And so I'll be able to change that filter out real easy from the bottom, because this right here is the oil filter. So it makes everything real nice and easy. So I'm going to take this back out and then head over to the hardware stores, get a right angle drill and a stubby drill bit, and hopefully I can make that work. My plan is to put a rib nut in the frame. So I have a little right angle hand rib nut gun. It's kind of like putting in a rivet, except for the center is a nut. That's why they call it a rib nut. You can see them. You can see them actually. Where did I use them on this car? I use them when I can, because they work out so good. Oh, one right here. That's holding the overflow. So that, if you look on this side, you can see the other side of the nut. See? And then that makes it real nice. Now I can take that off and I don't have to worry about the nut dropping down and trying to put something down there to hold it and all that craziness. The bad part about rib nuts is what can happen is, especially if you really, give it the beans, you can get them to twist in whatever metal or thing you put it into. And so then if it actually twists at that point, getting it loose or getting it tight is going to be extremely hard. Then once you get the thing that you had bolted on off, then you got to drill them out and put a new one. So the only thing you really want to do with those is just not over tighten them. But you can see here they work in plastic as well. This is the electric fan that I got from Summit, and it came with these in there as a mounting point. So you can put them in just about anything. They're nice, not very expensive tool. You can get one off of Amazon. I have an Astro and I have another real big one. Normally I would use the big one for the frame. However, I can't get it in there. So, all right. So let me head on over to the hardware store. I'll be right back. Hopefully with some parts that we can use to finish up that fuel filter. We'll get all that stuff bolted in. get the power steering pump in it. I need to pull the power steering lines off, clean those out, go grab the old gearbox for the 7-liter, and I'm going to put that in here for now, because whatever's gone on with this power steering, I don't want to blow any new parts up again. I've already changed the pump once and it blew up instantly, so I know there's something going on with the gear. So let me run out, get those parts, and I'll be right back with you. All right, back from the hardware store. Got a few things I needed. I think my mic was going out. The battery died toward the end. Like I said, I get chatty, so it doesn't really matter too much. I went to the hardware store, bought a 90-degree Milwaukee, the smallest one I could find. I only had about 4 or 5 inches to play with down there to try and drill out the hole in the side of the frame to put those rib nuts. I ended up getting it all drilled out, used a pilot bit and then a Christmas tree or stepper bit, whatever you want to call it. Quick tip for that is take a Sharpie and just kind of mark the end, the cutting edge, not the part that says what size it is. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to read what size it is. Mark the cutting edge, and then that way you know how far to actually drill into whatever you're drilling into. In this case, the frame. Worked out great. I was on a little bit of an angle, but with a stepper bit, you know, it's not too big of a deal. It still makes the same hole. So was able to get the rib nuts in place and mount the fuel filter. Got all the AN lines connected. Let me get you in here and show you what's going on, and so you can see what I did. So you can see here what we got. Got that fuel filter that we were talking about, and I drilled those 2 holes in the side of the frame and then put those rib nuts in there, bolted that in place. Got -6, this is the fuel line off the fuel tank, -6 into 3/8 MPT. This filter does have an in and out, so if you ever get one of these, pay attention to that. So it goes in and then out 3/8 MPT to -6 again to a hose fitting, and then kind of wraps down under and then back out and over here to the fuel pump. The hose routing is great, looks awesome. This gives me real flexibility as far as how easy it is to change the filter. Like I said, all you do is drop this one bolt here out and the bottom bowl comes off, and inside there is just a canister style fuel filter. Now the fuel system in this car is new, the tank's new, the pickup's new, the pump's new, the lines are new, everything's new. So I'm not worried about rot or rust or debris or anything like that getting through. Of course, you know, you never know how clean your fuel is, so you always want to run a fuel filter, of course. On these Fords, that big portion down there underneath of the fuel pump is actually a filter too. So this is getting filtered twice before it hits that Holly. I got that -6 coming out of the pump, going into my line here, going up. All that's finished and done. So now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and put that power steering bracket back in. I'll drop the pump in place. I still don't have the pulley mounted to it yet, but again, I just want to kind of test fit, make sure that this line here coming off going into the fuel filter is not going to hit anything, which I'm pretty positive it's fine, but you never know until you check. So that's where we're at right now. Let's get checking on that. Hey guys, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what I was talking about here, since I went ahead and did the high-speed film part, mainly because I dropped a bolt and I was just looking around for it. But what I was talking about while I was doing that, to me, is very important, because I was talking about one of the main reasons why, well, the main reason why I went ahead and decided to do this YouTube channel thing. And basically, you know, what it is that I want to put together a timeline of the building of this car in particular, but then also, you know, have some kind of video for my son. When he gets older, he'll be able to come in and watch the video, see me building the car that we love and enjoy every day, go to car shows, that kind of stuff. And so really what it is that I want this to be like a time lapse, you know, for my son. He's 2 years old right now. We were laying in bed the other day, his mom comes in, puts him to bed. She's want to read stories with him, plays with him, that kind of stuff. When I come in the room, he knows it's time to go to bed. Usually, what I do is I have a earbud in my ear and my cell phone, and I sit there and usually I'll watch like a Vice Grip Garage episode or something like that. He can't hear it, but sometimes he'll sit there with his head on my lap and watch the video. So in this particular episode the other night, I was watching Derek put a LS into a Monte Carlo, and my son looks over and he points and he says engine, and I thought that was the coolest thing. One of the reasons why I like watching Vice Grip is because, especially in the newer episodes, he's all about his kids and his family, and they're in the show and that kind of stuff. And I thought, that is so cool. That's exactly the way I want my son to enjoy cars with me. And so doing this whole YouTube thing in the hopes that later on, when he's a little bit older, he'll come in the shop, he'll help out with the cars, and sitting there, watching him or sitting there with him going to bed that night, and he looks over and points and says engine. It's dumb, but at the same time, as a father, that's really cool. So that's one of the main reasons why, well, it is the main reason why I wanted to do this YouTube thing, is really for him, so he can see his dad. And I'm really looking forward to the day where we can work on cars together, although he is growing up very, very fast. So I don't want it to happen too fast, but I look forward to that day. So anyways, that's what I'm talking about while I'm hunting for this bolt, and I figured I would just speed it up and then just kind of give you a little video or audio on the side to explain what was going on right there. So, all right, guys, back to the video. I need to get a selfie stick or something that works a little bit better for getting you guys under the hood with me. I do have like a suction cup thing I can set up. I'm sure there's a bunch of other things, but so that's the bracket. Bracket's in, fuel line's in. This fuel line, see how this one sticks up a little bit? I might have to kick that back just a little bit more so that it doesn't stick up so far. Let me grab the pump, and then we'll see where it lands. There we go. There's the pump in place. Oh yeah, no, that's fine. It follows that. It follows the curve to the fuel line perfectly. I'm bumping my head on the hood. Yeah, it follows that fuel line as it comes down. It goes right next to the power steering pump. I could drop it down a little bit, which I might do that, just to kind of, because right now it's pointed toward the pump a little bit. If I gave it like a 5-degree bend, maybe a 10-degree bend, it would be right in the middle between all that stuff down there. But yeah, that's looking good. That looks real good. So I think this came along good. You'll notice that with that fuel filter, I did all AN fittings. I know it's overkill. This is only a carbureted car, 6, 7, 8 pounds, whatever the pump is putting out. Doesn't need AN, but I like to do things that help me. And in the future, this car is going to go, twin turbo, fuel injection, high pressure, that kind of stuff. So in the future, it's going to help me. Right now, yeah, it's overkill and super expensive, but if you ever talk to my wife, the fittings were 50 cents, not $30. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, 50 cents. Okay, you got it. Okay, cool. They are a little expensive, but they're worth it in the end. When you're having to take a hose clamp off a bunch of times because you need to work on a spot, you're ruining that hose. You're going to constantly have to cut that hose back for every time you're taking it off to get a nice clean bite on it. And then those hose clamps, you know, maybe 2 times, 3 times you can get out of them before they're just gone. So AN, you put it together once and you could service it as many times as you want, as long as you're not, you know, really cranking down on those fittings, which you should never be. They just go snug with a little right there at the end. So any more than that and you're way overkill on them. So, but yeah, I think it looks good. The chrome I'd probably get rid of, but you know, maybe later in the future I'll just throw that bracket into the media blaster and then put some spray paint on it. But let me get this all tightened up. I'm gonna bend the line a couple degrees to even that out. I'm gonna put the pulley on the pump, and we'll get the pump in here, and that'll be it for the front of the engine, I think. Then it's just to get the power steering lines out, change that gearbox. It is getting pretty late in the day though, so I'll probably call this for today and then meet you guys in the morning, because I still got some editing and stuff to do tonight and some other work. So yeah, I think this turned out pretty good. Let me get back with you guys in the morning, and we'll see if we can get that gearbox changed, these lines cleared out, and fire this thing up. I don't think you guys have ever heard this run. So it actually runs really nice. Good sound, and love the exhaust on this. My guy down there at the muffler shop did a fantastic job. So, all right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey, thank you guys for watching. I think what I'm going to do is break this episode into 2 different segments. You know, I didn't want to cut out the part about me talking about my son, because, you know, that's one of the reasons that I'm actually doing this show, so he can grow up and see his dad working on stuff. So I'm going to break this up into 2 episodes. I do apologize for it to be a little bit shaky. I have 2 GoPros that I use, and one of them the settings got messed up on, so bear with me on that. Next episode we'll come back, we'll get the power steering finished up, we'll get the car running. You'll get to hear that for the first time. So I appreciate all of you, and thank you for all your love and support, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.